Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host Nico, and joined with me today, as always, is my co-host Chris. How you doing, man?
All good. How are you?
Not bad. Happy belated birthday, my friend.
Well,
Mr. Chris, failed to mention to me the night before when we were recording. It was his birthday the next day. I thought we were friends, man. What the hell is this all about?
I didn't want to ruin the show, put a timestamp on it. But yeah, it's my birthday last Friday.
Yes,
Cheers to
happy
me.
birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah, cheers, Chris. Yeah, there you go. So I thought we were friends, man. I guess I should have known better. I should have known when your birthday was,
Hey,
apparently.
my birthday isn't a birthday like yours with an iconic timestamp. They're like 316.
That's right. That's right.
Nico 316 just kicked your ass.
Not to mention it's right before St. Patty's Day. So I mean that's
Hey,
always time too.
that's it. I have my own holiday there, the Truth and Reconciliation Day.
Is that
I have
right?
to take a moment to remember.
That's right. That's right. Oh yeah, I guess it falls around the same time, man. I didn't realize that. Well, there you go, Chris. Just shaking his head. All right, guys. Well, anyways, we're here to talk about some comics here today, though. Welcome back. This is your first time tuning into the show. If you like what you saw here today, hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell to be notified of when these shows go up weekly. You can also follow us on our Instagram account, Late Night Collectors Community, to know when this show and all of our other shows here that we do go up. We got some more stuff coming. Just to kind of tease something, if you guys are into hockey cards, if you're into collecting cards, we also do a show called Kraken Packs with the Chat here on the channel, which we haven't done in some time. But it is hockey season. That means Tim Hortons, they have their hockey cards. Chris was talking about he's picked up a box of hockey cards soon. So we'll have some videos going throughout the month to kind of kick off hockey season here for you guys. So just a little teaser there. Make sure you tune in for those if you're into hockey cards, if you're into hockey. If you're into cards, collectible cards, we also do a bunch of other things with like Pokemon and stuff like that on that show. Check our playlists out. All kinds of good stuff here on the channel. I also recorded 2 haul videos. That's right. One for
Oof.
the late August comic book haul video. No, hold on. One for September. Apparently, something happened with the sound on both videos. So, unless I'm going to dub over them, and actually add in the words after the fact, I'm going to have to go back and record 2 more hours once again to redo those videos. So I apologize for the late release on those ones, but that just happened this week. A little snafu with the technical side of things that I'm a little upset about, but moving on. Moving on here. What can you do? These things happen sometimes. Spoiler warning, guys. Spoiler warning on the books here today. We're going to be talking about what happens in some of these books. We're going to be spoiling some stuff. We're going to be showing off the art in these books. Be forewarned, if it's something that you're worried about, just, maybe read your books, then come back later on, or, just carry on. The hell with it. Who cares?
That's
Like,
it.
it might get you interested in something you may not have planned on reading, right? So that's why we like to talk about the books and some of the big spoilers we try to avoid as well, guys. We do our best. And this week, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of October 5th, 2022. A lot of great stuff. Another good week. Chris,
All right, let's talk comics.
comics. All right. First up here, we got Dark Crisis number 5 for you guys here today. Dark Crisis number 5. First comic up on the docket here. Chris, what do you think of this one?
Thought it's pretty good. It's moving along. Got Superman in his world there. I think Superman powers up here. We have with Deathstroke fighting the Teen Titans, or I guess all the whatever heroes are left on Earth, and there it looks like at the end there they got a bit of trouble coming their way. What do you think?
I liked it. I think it's losing some steam a bit for me. I've really been liking this probably a little bit more even than you, I would say so far. It just kind of I really went into this thing with low expectations, and I felt like it's been an enjoyable event so far. But now we're reaching the point where a lot of things are spiraling out into the side books. You know how like these events they
Yeah,
like set something up where or like even in this one, like Damien's like, well, I'm gonna go help out with this, and it's like if you want to follow these adventures, read this book. And like when they start doing that, and I don't want to read all these other books, it's like there's a little bit of the story lost on us as a result, and I don't always enjoy that. Even though sometimes like by the next issue they'll explain what ended up happening in that one.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of what happened in their little like their private worlds there that they're trying to escape from. I'm still happy with what's kind of going on in the main story with what's happening on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I just feel like when they do too much of that, it feels like you're missing out on some of the events of the story. But then sometimes when you go and read those books, they end up being disappointing and they take away from like the big moments that are happening in this. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation, right? So it's just like I just don't love when that a little, most of that stuff starts going on. And also like I feel like we've reached a point now where it's almost like they're running out of things to say with this whole darkness scenario. Like I think we've with 2 issues left to go, I think that's the perfect length. I don't think this needed to be any longer. Like, everything matters and everything's going to count in terms of continuity. It seems like stepping away from this event is where they're going, where it's headed right now. And basically, it's the whole thing about, darkness is just overpowering everything, right? Darkness is taking over. Yeah, that kind of it seems like such a silly kind of trope that's done so many times in comics with the darkness and things turning evil and this and that. But that being said, what I really liked about this issue again, and I felt this throughout the event, is DC's legacy of characters. I love it. Like I love how you see all the younger Titans step up to the bad guys in this. I love the connections between a lot of these characters that are left on Earth despite the Trinity not being involved. But it's nice to see that there's different variations of a lot of these people too, and to see all these different other characters come out of the woodworks for this. Like I like DC's legacy. I like how there's sidekicks, and I like how there's like younger versions of these characters, and that there's the JSA, and there's all, you know what I mean? Like I like that about DC Comics. I think that's something that Marvel doesn't really have that DC has, I think, in spades, like for at least as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. That stuff with Superman there, now you got the pages up there.
Yeah.
Like, was he just waiting to go home? Because it seems like he's aware of what was happening.
Yes.
He was just waiting for everybody else to catch up to him, and then, I guess he goes freaking Super Saiyan or something there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with him here, but yeah, it goes pretty crazy. So yeah, it's not bad. I just think I'm ready for this to end now.
Yeah.
What can you punch this guy, this pariah or whatever his name is, in the face, and let's get this over with. This whole darkness taking over everything, right? Reset everything, or I guess don't, because I think now the point is, like I said, everything matters, everything counts. All of continuity exists now. It seems like instead of pressing the reset button, I think they're just going to carry on, recognizing that all these universes and all these events and everything counts. That's the new, because it's really going against what fans have complained about DC forever now, is them just saying now, like, fuck it, everything matters, all right, guys? Like, now it's just everything, every story you guys enjoy. It may not make sense, but hey, fuck it. We're going for it. Doomsday shows up here at the end. That was kind of cool.
That was a nice, finishing page there. Kind of keeps you jazzed for the next one, but
yeah,
it goes.
Some decent moments. So what'd you give this one?
Yeah, I was giving it a 3.5.
I was gonna give it 3.75, but since
I could be pushed to that, but
but since I didn't talk about it too favorably there, I'm gonna agree with you, 3.5 as well. It's still all right, but I think like this issue specifically, I was just like, I've had enough of this now. Whatever, however you want to take that, guys.
Yeah.
Miracle Man 0. All right, this is the return, the soft return of Miracle Man, I guess, finally to the Marvel Universe with this. I guess different creators came together to tell stories in his universe or whatever. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I didn't know much about Miracle Man before this, and I still don't know much about him after reading all this. I didn't know. I thought these were going to be reprints of earlier stories, but then, I kind of looked it over. There's some nice stories in here, but I still have no idea what Miracle Man does or who he is or what's going on. So, that segment story looks nice there, I think. And there's some other kind of baloney stuff in there, but I don't know. I'm in for the next few issues. And I don't know if this is going to be kind of like a standalone story. It doesn't look like it's going to be part of the Marvel Universe in there. And I don't know. I don't know what to say.
That's why I didn't pick up the Zero issue. I read this digitally, but at least from the solicitation, like this is what it was. It was just short story. Like you said, it was not a great introduction to the character. I think issues 1 and 2, those are going to be reprints of where they left off. I think the first few issues of the Miracle Man, starting with number 1, is now going to be reprints of the Neil Gaiman story, who took over for Alan Moore. And then him and Mark Buckingham, the artist, basically abandoned the book back in the 90s when there was a whole thing with the rights to the character. And then they couldn't continue the book, I believe, at the time. So this is that's supposed to be the return to the character. And I think that's going to be what the reprints are, is the first couple issues, I think, of the series. This was like, yeah, well, like I said, this was just creators that are working for Marvel currently that wanted to come and tell stories. I don't think they did a great job of explaining who Miracle Man was in this. Like you said, like there was this story. There was a story about a private eye, like robot or something like that. And you had this weird horror story where he crawled out of this guy's head at the end. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know what that's about.
I liked it, but I was just like, okay, like I was like, all right. Was this Peach Momoko on art here?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So that was
like there's some big names that were doing this. You know, when I kind of look back, this stuff here I didn't even read. I don't know what that was about.
This is kind of Ty Templeton, the artist, is doing. It looks like Miracle Man related stuff, like news strip comics, like stuff like. So Bates in Hell, obviously they're making fun of the Matt Groening Life in Hell. Doomed Buried is Doomsbury from the newspaper comics back in the day, right? I think that's Big Ben in Sleepyland. That's kind of like a Little Nemo. And this Komoda cat is Crazy Cat. So he's just basically taking old strips and like just reworking them, I guess, for the fact that these are characters from Miracle Man. But again, like this is just creators seems like having fun with the characters in the world of Miracle Man, but not even every story had to do with him, right? It was about like different stuff. This was my favorite. This one here. I think Jason Aaron wrote this one. This was kind of because it talks about the creation of stories and creators, and it kind of had like an underlying message to it. And I seen Jason Aaron talk about this on Instagram, what the story kind of meant. And so that added a little bit of context to it for me as well. But I liked this one. I like this story.
Yeah. The rest I just felt the whole issue had more of a Dark Horse sort of vibe than a Marvel vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what you're gonna get on a Miracle Man, though, man. It's a weird, dark book, and it's not like you know, I don't think it's filled with joy like you would think like an old school kind of superhero book would.
Yeah, like I was in the impression that Miracle Man was like freaking Marvel Superman, but no, I think I was way off base with that.
No. So I'd be interested to see what you say. Like, I mean, he has powers like him, but I think
it's just way off. Like,
yeah. All right. So what'd you give this one?
I said I'll give it a 3.5 too. You know, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I expected, and I didn't really know what to expect.
Same. I'll also give it a 3.5. Some good artists on it. I really like that one short story, but for the most part, this is you if you didn't pick this up, not needed.
Yeah, you're not missing anything.
No. All right, Chris. Poison Ivy number 5.
Yeah, so we got Poison Ivy number 5 here. And I think this is more of a history of Poison Ivy. I think she's battling a lot of the person that created her. And, you know, in the earlier issues, it seemed to be a decent story where she's kind of going through the country trying to rid the world of people. And I don't know, this one just goes off on a rail there where she's fighting. I forget what his name is, but it wasn't my favorite issue. I don't know, the art just didn't do it for me here either. Not a lot of good things to say about this one. And I imagine this would have been the 5th of 6 issues, if that's the way it is. So maybe the story's going to end and they're going to move on in the 7th issue. But, you know, I'm still down for the rest of the series. And I don't know, I just kind of fell flat. This wasn't my favorite comic this week for sure, where I've really been enjoying this series. And I'll give it a 3.5.
The art in this one looks like it's like a huge like acid trip or something.
Like they were always trying to go for that psychedelic look all the way through, because that spores, the Lamia, kind of makes you hallucinate. Mm-hmm. So you never know if she's hallucinating or what she's up to. But wasn't for me.
Okay.
3.5, 3.25 even.
5. All right. Next up, Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor. Is this the last issue?
Yes, thank God. Once again, this whole Jane Foster stuff, when it started, I thought, the Hammer seeked out Jane Foster and then she became Thor again. I go, okay, we're going to see some Jane Foster as Thor. She spends most of this time as Valkyrie here and lost in some freaking dream world while Asgard is getting freaking torn to rubble or getting razed to rubble, I guess. And, the last issue ended with Ares showing up, so I thought that kind of gave me some hope. But I guess in this issue, Thor wakes up and he realizes he's in the dream world and he comes back to fight Ares there and he takes off. I don't know. Once again, I'm glad this series is over and I wish I didn't buy it. 3.25, not much to say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fair, man. I mean, yeah, it's too bad. I don't find that. And then I saw at the end of this issue, this is the writer that's going to be going into the Thor series following the Venom.
Yeah. That's not encouraging.
No, because I read some of the Valkyrie miniseries that was also written by this woman who was at the time Jason Aaron was co-writing them, and they were okay. Like he was co-writing them with her, but again, not my favorite stuff. I mean, and this isn't, no shade towards Jane Foster specifically as a character. I like her. I just feel like some of these miniseries that she's done, even previous to this one, I didn't read this one, were kind of hit and miss. Like some were okay, some were not that great. So yeah, I mean, I'm not excited now hearing that you didn't love this one, knowing that she's going to be coming in to write an arc for the Thor book where she's going to.
Like I say, I remember we were talking about this earlier. Thor would still be okay, but I don't know. That could be on the chopping block if this continues.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next up we got Junkyard Joe #1. I really enjoyed this. This is a new Image title from Jeff Johns. I guess he's got his own imprint now at Image, Mad Ghost. This is him and Gary Frank on art. You might recognize him. He actually did the cover for the issue last week that we talked about. That was another horror-related thing, the Sergeant Rock versus Army of the Dead or whatever, or whatever it was called, DC horror book by Buddy there, Evil Dead.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell. Thanks. Yeah, this was really good. This is a spinoff to like a title. They're supposed to be doing a couple of different mini series of characters that are spinning out of the series that he did last year through Image called Geiger. Which I really, really enjoyed. That was about like a radioactive man out in the like middle of like dystopian wasteland type stuff. Like you think like Old Man Logan type shit going on in that book. That was kind of similar to what that title was. Just like with a dude that has like a skull, like radioactive kind of head of sorts, and he glows. And this was a character that he introduced in that world that was basically a robot GI. Like, so he, in this book, they kind of show you how he came to be. I guess, they're in the war. I think it's World War II. And all of a sudden they send over this new person to help out. He joins this squad and then you find out that the dude, like, although he looks human on his exterior, is actually a robot, and he precision shoots like all these people in the woods as they're getting ambushed, and then from there he gets blasted and saves them by like, I guess, a bomb or something. But then all that's standing there in the rubble alive still is this dude, and they find out that he's a robot. But he saved them all, and then they kind of proceed to continue through the jungle or wherever they are. Maybe this wasn't World War II. Maybe it was. Oh, you know what? No, this must be Korea or something. This is 1972. Sorry, I was wrong about that one. Way off. Yeah, because I was about to say this doesn't feel like World War II. Yeah. See, I'm getting my wars mixed up after reading the one last week with the Nazis. So there you go. This is like Nam times or something like that. So yeah, this was really good. I really enjoyed this. The art was great. It really felt like an actual war comic. Like, it wasn't too hokey, despite the fact that there is a guy that's a robot. Like, there is obviously like a sci-fi kind of twist to this, but it was really kind of delivered like all the other characters were really well done and played it straight, like they were actually in the war and stuff like that. And you know, there's even a whole scene here where they're playing cards out in the jungle together, and then they're trying to like get the robot to come over so they can teach him how to play cards. So like shit like that. It was fun. I liked it. I thought the art was really well done. I thought it was written well. Anyways, they all end up getting taken out because like there's like a big buffalo or something that comes along, and he had a bomb, I guess, strapped to him that the enemy, I guess, put on him to detonate by their, and you know, they didn't think nothing of it because they, you know, you see a big animal, you're like, whatever, you know, and it ended up blowing almost everybody up. The robot survives, and then he ends up taking out the rest of the guys that are trying to take them down himself. And then he grabs the one guy, this one character that we're following. Like you were kind of following his story for the most part through this issue. This black guy that was part of their group, and he ends up saving him. And I guess by the end of it, he's so sick of, I guess, the war and kind of like what it represents and everything else. The guy just like doesn't detonate, but like shuts off. Like he's just like, fuck this. Like he just lost all his friends. So like the robot itself is just like, I'm done. So he just like shuts down. And then message goes back to the president of the United States that their guy that they sent out there to help is kind of now removed himself from this situation. And they jump to the future. And then I guess the next, it ends with that character he saved doodling in his notepad of drawings of this guy who saved his life, this robot army dude, right? So Junkyard Joe. And then I guess the next issue, they're going to time jump, they said, and it's going to detail that guy who, I guess, when he got out of the army, he ended up becoming our cartoonist and starting a cartoon strip of this Junkyard Joe guy. And then it's apparently going to take a weird turn where it's going to focus on telling the story of a cartoonist during this period of time, whatever happened to this robot character. So it's really interesting. I don't know. It's not what I expected. I thought it was really well done. The art was great. It was a really great first issue. Got me interested. This is actually something that I purged. I think I only pre-ordered the first 2 issues, and I was like, oh, I'll just read this in trade. Now I'm kind of disappointed I cut it off my list. So I'm like, I might have to track down that issue because I thought this was really well done, and I would definitely pick the rest up and read them. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. Unexpected. I gave this a 4. Solid first issue.
Nice.
And next up, we got Kea #1. And this is the first issue, another Image release of Wes Craig. He's the artist on Deadly Class, so I'm a huge fan of. This is his first, he's put out other stuff, but this is his first book following written and drawn creator-owned book coming off of like working on Deadly Class for like several years with Rick Remender. So this is like his first thing on his own outside of that. And I think the last issue, Deadly Class, is going to be coming out a couple of weeks from now. So you know, he wanted it to be released at the same time. Unfortunately, because of the release schedule, it didn't end up working out. I ended up talking to him at the Fan Expo there in the summer. Yeah, sorry. I had to drop that in there.
Got to drop that in there, eh?
Of course. But yeah, no, this was really fun. I liked this. This is basically, again, written and drawn by him. So if you're a fan of his art, this is a must pick up. And I think he's written some other things in the past as well outside of Deadly Class, just being the artist on that book. But he's a good writer, I think. And this is kind of like a cool fantasy book about a young girl and her brother who I guess was like the prince, where they came from, like their tribe and their people of like their world, that they're from, their land, I guess. It got taken out. They killed, they ravaged all their people, and they got away. And now they're basically just like making their way through this whole desert in this world that they live in, and trying to make their way through the world now and survive. And basically, he's no longer considered a prince because their people and their kingdom is essentially gone. Everyone got taken out, and they're making their way through the desert. And then they come upon some people that they think are a threat, an enemy. And it turns out they actually knew one of the people that were there that vouched for them, and they were able to kind of join their group in this issue. But like the whole time, like the prince, the little boy's whining, and because he's a younger kid and she's the oldest and she's trying to be the responsible one, but he's whining, going through the sandstorms and everything else about being hungry and, you know, this and that. I'm a prince, I shouldn't have to deal with this. She's like, you're a prince of nothing. And like our place is gone, like it doesn't matter anymore. We're just people in the desert now, essentially. So there's like a cool brother sister relationship kind of banter going on between the two of these guys, and all of a sudden they reach these people and they join them, and the whole time the little brother is talking about holding these scrolls. That's the whole history of their people, and he's trying to hold on to these things and protect them, right? And she's like, it doesn't matter anymore. She's like, just leave them. And he's like, no, this is very important, right? So they join these people, and he's so hungry, he turns around to one of them and he's like, listen, like, I'll give you these scrolls that detail our whole history. This is so important if we're going to be joining you guys, that you take this in exchange for some food. And this fucking lizard asshole guy takes the scrolls. And oh yeah, she's also got like a crazy, like powered up, like gauntlet thing, which she throws down with in this issue. Is pretty cool. Takes the scrolls and just throws them in the fucking fire, and then throws like a chicken bone at him and calls him like a mongrel or something to get the fuck out of here. Like he's just like, here you go, like, you know, get the fuck out, and just treats him like shit. This little kid. And then he's kind of disgusted with himself because his whole people's history are now burning, is now burning in this fire. And like, yeah, so that was a really great scene. So yeah, I like this. And then by the end of it, they're kind of making their way through the desert. They got a big creature that they're kind of rolling around on, like using for transportation. And it just seems like a fun adventure fantasy thing with a brother and sister. Good art. Yeah, I dug it. I give it a 3.75 this issue. I really thought it was enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to more. And last for me for now, we got TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures #1. This comic is a great example of sometimes you just can't go back home again, guys. Unfortunately, this is another one that was cut off of my list due to the purge. Thankfully, I think I've only pre-ordered the second issue past this. I think this is a 4-issue miniseries. So this is a new 4-issue mini from IDW Comics about the Ninja Turtles called Saturday Morning Adventures. That's supposed to play on the fact that this is like the cartoon. They're trying to tap into, I guess, the fans of the cartoon from back then, which I was. I was of that era. I was very young when the cartoon came out. I was a big fan of the cartoon. I even own the DVDs of the cartoon. Unfortunately, like the cartoon, they don't necessarily hold up though, and this comic is just as cheesy as the fucking cartoon is. Like, as much as I have love for that cartoon and the Turtles in general, and I'll check out any iteration of the Turtles, like, this is outside of the new modern IDW comic book series, which I love. This was not that great, guys. This is like, the art was fine, looked like the cartoon. Basically, in this issue, they Donatello makes up some like weird VR goggle type thing, and they go into this VR world where they're all playing their favorite video games, like in real time. Like, so there's like a fighting game that one of them's fighting and playing in, and then there's like a Mario Kart type game that they're playing in. It was just cheesy, like very fucking cheesy. Like, if they were trying to hit the tone of the cartoon, maybe they succeeded in that sense, but it didn't make me, feel like I need to go and watch them, and it didn't give me that joy that I was hoping for, possibly by checking this book out. It just wasn't that fun. Like, I felt it was just very, very corny. So I'm done with this one. So I mean, I'll give it a 3, only because I don't think it's badly done. I mean, if I'm going on my own personal enjoyment, I would give it less than a 3. But I mean, and I know that's what we rate these books on, but I don't think it was bad. It just wasn't for me. And I think that the tone of it I think they did get the tone of it right. This is not what I was hoping, unfortunately. Like, I was hoping for maybe some nostalgia for the cartoon and stuff like that, but it's been forever since I've seen the cartoon, and I guess it's just as corny as maybe that this comic represented. So, and cheesy.
They should drop those Saturday Morning Turtles into like a world of the kind of the gritty, dark world of the real Teenage Mutant, or the grittier Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That'd be fun to see, I think. But
yeah, well, here's the thing.
Or at least kind of do some sort of twist to it, not just kind of straight out play it out.
So here's the thing. I heard that they previous to this they came out with a GI Joe Saturday Morning Adventures comic. Apparently that was really good, but I was never like I was right on the cusp of when GI Joe was very popular, like when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed out on the GI Joe whole thing, right? But apparently that series I heard from GI Joe fans was really really enjoyable and kind of reminded them of the cartoon. So then I thought, after they announced this one, after how successful the GI Joe one was, I was like, oh, okay, well this one's gonna be good then too, right? So I'll check out this. And yeah, unfortunately, again, unless you got to have a lot more love for it, maybe it connects with other people. It just didn't connect with me, right? Because this is coming off of me recently catching up on the current series from IDW Ninja Turtles. I bought all the hardcovers. I've read the whole thing over the last couple months. It's great. So maybe this was just like not what I'm looking for in my turtles anymore, right? Maybe this is reminiscent of the cartoon. I mean, it felt like the cartoon, but it also felt like corny, like the cheesy, like the cartoon, which I don't need to read that, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, Chris. Next up, we got X-Men Red #7.
Oop.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got the Judgment Day tie-in here. I don't think it was a bad issue, with Magneto dying there. I thought that was a good, a good few pages of what's going on, or kind of how he thought as he was dying. He was talking with Storm, and it kind of revealed a lot of, I guess, how the writers feel about the mutants, or how Magneto felt about everything. Kind of on his deathbed. He made some sort of confessions there, thinking that maybe Charles, or maybe he was wrong with how he thought about the way things should go, and Charles may be right, but I thought it was interesting how he made Storm kind of just keep an eye on Charles, and that's about the only good part of the issue. Well, not really. There's some good stuff in there too afterwards. Like, I'm not a big fan of what's going on with the tables in Arcoa or Araco or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But that battle they had with that Iska, the one that can't lose, and that Fisher King, where he kind of posed that question, I came that threw her for a loop and made her realize what's going on. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And what else do I have here? Yeah, they set their new path. But other than this, I think this series is still on a fence, and I'm leaning to pass. As time goes on.
Same. I think with Magneto dying, this book is dying with him for me, because he was one of the more interesting parts of this book for me. I don't really have much interest in these other aliens, although I will say, like you said, like you pointed out, the girl that can't lose, that was an interesting kind of twist with how she was going to get judged, even with her relation to even relating to these.
Yeah, because what was the question that King said? Because she never can lose.
That's right.
And then I think the question he posed was, who knows more about loss, or something like that. Yes. And then for her to, I guess, to win, she'd have to learn about loss, where then I guess she realizes kind of what's been going on.
And even as she decided to leave the council based on that, she's like, yeah, see? And Buddy's giving her the thumbs up because she just can't lose, right? Even the the judge,
she still kind of did the right thing. So it's
janitor even I gave her a thumbs up based on that, right? She's like, all right, I'll step down, right? I feel like I'm tapping out of this one too. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but I am trying to cut some books, and I'm not as interested in the Araco people as I would have been. And I'm not a huge Storm fan, so there's not really much here for me. Like, it's cool though. They are putting, like you said, like that Fisher guy, like that. They actually are creating some new characters and making some interesting stories out of them. Like, that's what I mean. I'm not against that. I just find that Magneto was the main reason why I wanted to read this book. Who knows how long it'll be until he gets resurrected again. He's not wrong though. Left to his own devices, Charles is not. He's bad business.
Well, the stuff he says about Charles he'll let everybody die to prove that he's a good person.
He'll do anything to see his dream played out.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good thing for the mutants or humans, or it's a bad thing for them. Yeah, that's why those two characters work so well, and they kind of even each other out. Now without him there, I don't know, man.
And I'm glad that his death, he died in whatever 5-6 pages. They didn't turn this into some sort of miniseries, the death of Magneto now, like that trial of Magneto, which was garbage.
Like,
I'm happy that they just he died and that's it. And it
like,
sounds like he's going to stay dead for a while, but who
yeah.
knows, or maybe they're going to bring him back, from like a young Magneto where he doesn't remember any of this stuff and doesn't remember telling anybody that he doesn't want to come back. Who knows?
Charles Xavier could turn out to be a bad guy. That's if you don't already think that he is, because I think there is some people that aren't fans of Charles, right? So out there that are a huge X-Men fan. So he is a jerk, according to Kitty Pryde, if you know that iconic.
Yeah, well, they haven't portrayed him as a hero in a long time. Like they've always kind of lately, with that stupid X helmet on he has. As long as he wears that, he's always going to be sort of a bad guy, it seems.
Yeah. So what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.75. I thought it was a good issue, though. I did like it, but
same.
I still don't like those Iraqi people or Iraq, whatever. Again,
Iraqi.
They've been there for what, like 10,000 years on Mars or something, and nobody's seen them before. Come on.
All right. Next up, we got Hulk. Oh, I also gave it a 3.75. Hulk number 9. The next book here. The Return of Hulk. It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know about this one either. I think I've had enough about Bruce's childhood and how bad it is or how good it is or whatever. That stuff with Samson or Doc Samson. It's kind of crazy. I thought it was kind of funny how he's trying to prove to Doc Samson that, he's well. And then you go to his starship and he's got all those freaking clones there running the ship, which is just like, it's batshit crazy.
Oh, it's awesome. It's like the Star Trek Enterprise with his subconscious split up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not crazy, but don't worry. Then you go see what's going on in his head. It's, what do you mean you're not crazy? This is fucking crazy.
That's why I loved it. I was like, this is ridiculous. They're really leading into how crazy this is getting, this book. Like, it is a strange book. I'm so glad that we got back to this with no explanation of the Banner Hulk War at all.
Yeah.
Or Banner or Thor War.
Yeah, they kind of explained at the beginning, okay, whatever. Thor just sent them out in the middle of nowhere, and then they find this, on this planet that whatever they ran into. I don't know, I just felt like there was a lot of filler to set up that Monolith character at the end.
Yeah.
I wasn't too big on it, but I thought that was some funny stuff in there, though, with that spaceship. So still I'm not sure if I bought into 100% just yet. Yeah, now it's even worse.
I hear you. No, I quite enjoyed this, actually. I like this whole him being at like in the chair there of like the Star Trek Enterprise with all his different like all his
it's all different. Whatever, Bruce Banner's running around, they all look different.
Yeah, crazy idea. Like, I really liked that. I thought it was fun, and now they're like, they're like almost like terraforming this like planet. I don't know what the hell they're going to be doing there. They're like landing there to kind of check everything out, right? And it seems like I don't know if whether they're going to mine it for this gamma shit that's coming off of it or change the planet.
I know, it's supposed to be a planet Hulk or something. Everybody's a Hulk there. They know who he is when he gets there, so that's kind of crazy.
Right. Like, I don't know what plans they have for the planet, what they're planning to do to it, unless they're just planning on like inhabiting it. I don't know. But yeah, like you got like some weird zombie creatures there at the end. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And Ryan Ottley back on art, and again, just leaning into the weirdness of this book without any explanation really about why. I was glad to get back to this. And then you got like a very Kirby-esque type Titan looking character.
Yeah.
Big Barda looking chick at the end there that shows up, right? So I dug it, man. I mean, I guess this was Planet Hulk. Maybe this is Planet Hulk from
or Hulk Planet. I don't know. Maybe not Planet Hulk. Now it's the Hulk Planet. Like everybody's Hulk's there or something.
Was destroyed Planet Hulk, but like, I mean, yeah, maybe it is like a planet of Hulk type people, right? We don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one personally. So I just like that they're just moving forward with just these weird stories and ideas and yeah, I'm glad that they didn't really touch too much on the previous incidents with Thor, and they just kind of just like, yeah, whatever, we're moving on.
Yeah.
This one.
I'm looking forward to seeing more, but this wasn't my favorite issue.
So
I'll give it a 3.5.
I'll give this a 4. I liked it just based on the Star Trek Enterprise stuff. I thought that was a fun idea. All right, next up we got Edge of Spider-Verse number 5, Chris.
Oh, wow. Let's see, where the hell I have it here somewhere. But anyways, the Edge of Spider-Verse, I think basically 2 stories. You got Kraven the Hunter becoming Spider-Man, and then you got our Fancy Pants Spider-Man there, or the Web Weavers, as they call him there. So the first story with the Kraven is Spider-Man. That's pretty big time there. I think he's out. I don't know. He's out in the wilderness or whatever, trying to hunt a lion, and a giant spider kills the lion, and then that's how Kraven gets these spider powers. And then Madam Web and her team pretty much recruit him for the upcoming battle. So that's pretty good. And this Web Weaver Spider-Man, I forget his name, it's like Cohen or Cool Cohen or something. I don't know. I think they lay it on pretty thick, but it's a decent story in there. And you still see Peter Parker, you still see Mary Jane in there. There's I don't know if anybody remembers Millie the Model. I think that was a Marvel character from like the 40s.
Yeah.
And she's one of the models in there. And I thought the story is pretty decent for this. Like I said, I think they laid on thick with his costume and his portrayal there. I think he got his powers by trying to save Peter Parker because he had a crush on him. But that's pretty good. I didn't mind it. Once again, I think I've been tired out of this Spider Universe thing. Was all just introductions to new characters. I thought it was going to be something different, but you still have some fun with the new characters. And I did like seeing Peter Parker and Mary Jane. He was, I guess, since this Web Weaver, I think he has something to do with fashion show. So he got Peter Parker a job as a fashion photographer. And then, I got Mary Jane as a model. So a lot of things still fit into the story. So I thought it was good. I'd give it. Did you read it all or no?
I didn't read this. Was this the last issue or?
Yeah, this is the last issue because I think this all leads into Spider-Man #1.
Yeah, that's what they said. So they said this is giving you context to a lot of the characters that will show up in that series. So that's cool. I mean, I feel like I know a little bit more now just from previewing the art and you talking about the book, but no, I didn't read any of this. So
yeah, they're fun stories. Like I did like the Kraven. Kraven seems like a badass Spider-Man. If they do have an army, you want him on your team. He's pretty good. And this Web Weaver, I thought it was an interesting story. I'd give it a 3.5 though.
Cool.
Like this whole, I had a lot of big expectations for this Edge of Spider-Verse. Hearing about all those other Spider-Verse stories. I thought big things are going on, but who knows? Maybe this will become big stuff later on.
Right. All right. I mean, if it turns out anything like Gwen did, Spider-Gwen, you hold in your hands, if you own those copies of those books, if any of those characters take off, the first appearances of a lot of these guys.
Yeah, well, I think this was a lot of just throwing stuff at the wall. You know what I mean? Like
that's what these were too, man. It just some things take off, right? Spider-Gwen was a deal. They didn't expect that one to be as big as it was, right? That turned out to be that was a cover idea, I think, originally, and then it turned into the whole thing, right? So, anyways, very cool. So, Savage Avengers #6.
Yeah, this one has sort of exceeded my expectations. This was one of the books that so I'm just trying to track down my copy here somewhere.
Yeah, man.
But this was one of the books that there it is. I was kind of hoping to cut, but every time I keep on reading it, you got all this great stuff coming in there. Here they go to the 2099 universe.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure things out once they get there. The Punisher's trying to track them down because I guess the Deathlocks are all, they're an evil force out there. And, they figure they're in 2099 universe. And the Black Knight, directs them to an old Avengers mansion where they have at the bottom or in the basement, they have a warehouse full of, I guess, old stuff. And everybody gets some new toys here. We got Elektra gets Archangel's wings. Cloak gets Doc Ock's arms. Got Venom driving the spider buggy. I didn't know why they had the spider buggy in the bottom of the Avengers mansion. And the best weapon was Weapon H with that Absorbing Man's wrecking ball. I thought that was freaking great watching him freaking throw things all around. And then the spoiler warning at the end there, they have all the Deathlock primes or the Deathlocks are revealed to be led by Ultron.
Yeah.
And it's a good Ultron too. It's like the old freaking Ultron from the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. I don't want to be, but it's pulling me in. I thought it was great.
I read this as well. I've been kind of on and off this book, as you know. I stopped buying the physical issues, and you keep getting me interested in some of the happenings, like some of the goings on in these books when you've been talking about it. I read the last issue because it was Conan's exit.
Yeah.
I read this one because I'm like, oh, Punisher 2099. Okay, I'll see how it is. I gotta say, the exposition, like the narrations of this issue, toned down quite a bit from the
Oh
other.
yeah, definitely.
There was still a bit of it, but not to the point where they were trying to overdo it like they were with the Conan stuff, which I
Yeah.
guess was on a choice and on purpose, which I had suspected it to be, because he was trying to do like, like the Conan style writing, which is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So I was really happy about that they toned it down a lot in this issue. And not only that, the art's great. And you want to talk about throwing stuff at the wall and see what stick, all the crazy things that are good. This is like opening the Marvel toy box in this issue. Like you said, all of them getting all those weapons and the 2099 connection, and you got Ultron. And yeah, I had a hell of a lot of fun with this book. Same with you. My expectations were low. I'm kind of, I've already felt like I've jumped off this book once or twice, right? But you keep talking about it. I keep checking it out online. I'll read it digitally, and this was fun. I had a lot of fun with this issue. Yeah, like you said, low expectations, but I think it far exceeded them. I had a lot of fun with this one. I was like, okay, this is kind of fun now. You got such a weird, diverse group of characters, and
yeah, I imagine they'll be here for 4 or 5 issues, and who knows where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll still read this digitally. I think this was fun, at least for this arc. I think this was fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. I like it. I gave it a 4. I thought it was a great issue.
I'm gonna give it a 4 too. I am very surprised, just because as you know, I've been down on this series more so than you have. Like, you've been enjoying it more than I have, let's say, right? But I think this was a really good issue.
No, I don't like any of the characters in this issue.
I know I'm not crazy about any of them, but at the same time, like, I like the idea of like all these, like I said, and the one thing though I shook my head at about is that they're, of course, because they're in the 2099 universe, they're doing like the 2099 futuristic lingo that they did.
Yeah, that's always garbage. The frag this or the.
There's a scene where they call them sons of glitches in this, and I'm just like, that's horrible. Like fracking, they always like shit like that. Like they used to do it in the Spider-Man 2099 book too.
Well, right? Yeah, they did it all the time, and it always sucked. It's always stupid.
Shock this, and tons of glitches. When I read that, I was just like, oh god, that was just like, this so cheesy.
Well, now it's an homage, to what was done back there. It's not a fresh idea. I hope.
I get what they're doing because I know the 2099 books. I've read some of the older ones.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like I see what you're doing there, buddy. Like, but like ease up.
Yeah, but don't. Just because it doesn't mean you have to use it. There's better things you can do.
That's right. All right. Next up, we got Gotham Year One, #1. This is a new Tom King book, 6-issue miniseries that came out this week, and this was really great. This is good debut issue. Phil Hester on art. This is Slam Bradley, who's like a private eye detective in Gotham. Darwin Cook did some stuff with him with Ed Brubaker, because that would be right up their alley with the crime noir stuff back when they were both working on Catwoman together. Slam Bradley was a character back in Ed Brubaker's run. I guess that was appeared in old Batman comics, and then he wasn't really used for a while, and then they brought him back, and it's been a while since I think we've seen that character again, and they brought him back in this. And this is a story from his past, I guess, Slam Bradley, when he was working as a private eye in Gotham. And it's like, if you liked Tom King's, like, he seems to be doing a lot of noir detective type stuff. If you like Tom King's, like, lately, Human Target, you'll like this. Like, this is basically, again, it takes place in Gotham. It has nothing to do with Batman so far. He shows up at the end, but like so far, it's not like a Batman comic, let's say. But it's private eye in Gotham. Like, some woman comes by his office, the damsel in distress type move, or she's like, oh, I need your help. I need you to go look into this for me. And here's an envelope with $100 in it. And you have to go and track this person down and give this envelope to them. And the person that she wants them to go track down is one of the Waynes. Like, I guess it's Richard Wayne, or so. I forgot which Wayne it was, but it's like, I think it's Bruce's father's father. Okay, so this is like I don't know if this, I think this took place in like the 40s. It's old, so again, I don't have my physical copy here in front of me, guys, so of this one, because my DC was late this week, so I can't tell you exactly when it took place. But yeah, I think it's his father's father. I don't think it's his father, and he has to go deliver this message to him. But turns out, seems like it's a bit of a setup, because it turns out their daughter was kidnapped very recently. And in the note that he ends up delivering to the Waynes, it says something about, please give this detective that I sent the money, the ransom money, and blah, 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 blah. But he didn't know all this, right? So all of a sudden he's been, backstabbed, and he's up in the mix now and part of this whole case. And gets the shit beaten out of him by the Wayne's help, essentially. Like, they have like some security around the mansion that take him into a room and beat the shit out of him, trying to interrogate him and find out if he was the guy that had something to do with this. And now he's on the case. Yeah. So you have $100,000 to pay for child. Child is safe, but won't be safe. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell police. And basically, it is true by me with my mark here. And there's a Batman. Like, there was, sorry, not Batman, a bat, like a symbol of a bat there. So I don't know what that has to do with anything at this point, because Batman is not around, but that was all very interesting. And I'm in. Good mystery story, good art. And like I said, it doesn't have to do so much with Batman, more so with Gotham and the detective case with the Waynes back in the day and everything else. So the cool thing, and there's a murder by the end too. He had somebody tailing somebody, one of the guys that works for him, Slam Bradley, who went off and tailed someone for him. I guess the woman that came to his office, and he ended up being found in the landfill here. So, so that's never good. So the plot thickens, guys. And then at the end, the last scene, you get Batman talking to an old, current day, I guess, Slam Bradley, talking about this old case of his with him. So, and maybe why there's a connection to everything today. Maybe, I don't know why Batman's asking about it now, but anyways, I gave this a 4. Good, solid first issue. I'm in for the duration of the 6-issue mini. If you want to, again, I think it's good because it's something that's Batman related, but not necessarily a Batman story. So that's good. That's some of the best Batman stuff I've read has been stuff like that when they takes place in Gotham. Commissioner Gordon story or something like that. You know what I mean? That's good stuff. Next up, we got Dark Ride #1. This is another new Image #1 that came out this week. Very quickly, I was a fan of this book. The same creators, artist, and writer Joshua Williamson, and the artist, they did a book called Birthright through Image years ago. I was a big fan of it. That's why I'm checking this out. I felt it would read better in trade, so I only read the first issue digitally to see if it would have any interest with me. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely going to check out the trade when this comes out. I don't know if I'll continue to read this digitally or not. This is basically about a guy. In these past scenes, the way the book opens up, he ends up killing his wife. In a fit of rage because she's talking shit about how much of a worthless bum he is because he lost his job. And he's one of these like visionary type guys that he works on amusement parks, but the rides that he does are too scary. Like, he got fired because apparently he doesn't play by the rules, and the stuff he does is deemed too scary by the person who is employing him. And he's got like a whole room of like weird horror type stuff. It seems like he's really into the occult and all this type of shit. And the wife, I guess, was just had enough of this stuff. So she insults him. He turns around and beats the shit out of her, ends up killing her, throwing her in a grave. Then from the grave, a voice starts talking to him. And I guess it may have been like a demonic type thing that kind of convinced him to open up his own amusement park and make it like a horror themed amusement park. Jump to years in the future, he's got his son working the park for him, as he's kind of like the guy behind the scenes that makes the rides and everything else. It's like a horror land type like amusement park, like Disney World. And in the first issue here, you learn a little bit about the family, some of the fucked up shit that's happening behind the scenes. And one of their new employees that works at the amusement park ends up getting killed. Like, he gets on a ride when the amusement park is closed, gets tricked into going on there and thinking it's like some sort of hazing of some sort by the other employees, and he ends up getting killed. There's definitely some weird demonic type shit, like, you know, devil, like type stuff happening in this amusement park. So yeah, if you like horror, if you like amusement parks, in the letter in the back, Joshua Williamson says how much he loves amusement parks, how much he loves Disney, and this is going to be his take on that kind of stuff, but with a horror twist. So I'm just like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to probably check out the trade, and it was a very good first issue. I gave it a 4. Sorry.
Whoa, easy now.
Yeah, let's calm down. Yeah. All right. And lastly, here for the things I've read, it's Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, #1.
Oh, you did read it.
I did read this.
Okay,
It was okay. I recently, Chris, I picked up the first 2 hardcovers of the Joker series, the ones that we were reading in issues. I read some of them, ended up finishing the other half of the series that I hadn't read. That is, now that I've reread the stuff in hardcover all in one go, I read like the first 9 issues in the annual. That's a good series. Okay. I really like that series. It's really good again, because it's mostly a Commissioner Gordon series and Joker's kind of peppered in.
Yeah.
This was the opposite. This is focused on Joker. This is post the Joker series now, and now he's returned to Gotham after that whole adventure that he had with Commissioner Gordon and everything else. And I guess he had survived that ordeal, even though, he was sent out there to kill him. But of course, it's the Joker. He's back in Gotham now, and this is basically him now coming back to Gotham. And it seems like fucking with the criminals hard. Like, he's like, I've come back here. I don't like the way things are running, and I'm going to basically go up against crime. And he thinks he's doing Gotham a favor by doing this. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, he's crazy. He's the Joker, right? But a whole issue dedicated to him, though, I was just because he's a character that's so overused, it's kind of like what you would expect from a series that's centered on the Joker. That's what was good about the Joker series, that it wasn't really a Joker series. It was obviously called Joker because they needed to sell books.
Yeah, you can't sell Captain Gordon or Commissioner Gordon.
Right. So this was fine. There's nothing wrong with this, but I'm probably not going to continue with this one past, I think, the first 2 issues I have pre-ordered. I'll probably drop it. Might read it digitally, check in now and then, or I might pick up the collection when it's all done. Great artists on both stories. The first artist was the artist that's on Batman the Knight right now with Chip Zdarsky. I guess he had already finished that series, and now he's drawing this one. That looks great. And this Francesco Francavilla, he even did some of the art on the last Joker series. He did the annual. This artist, great looking stuff. The artists are really good, and the storytelling's fine. It's just I don't need more Joker stories. I feel like at this point, I think it's fine. I might revisit it somewhere down the road and think otherwise, but I really much like the other, and it might just be because I've recently trying to catch up on the last Joker series, where this one is so much Joker, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to read this right now. So I think I'm out on this one. I give it a 3.5. Again, good art, all right story. I'm just not as interested in this right now.
Okay, good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think you missed much, Chris. You can even read it digitally and see for yourself, honestly.
Yeah.
So. Batman 128. What do you think of this? Yep. Great issue.
Batman 128. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's all I gotta say. It's so nice to see. It's like I've given out. Whenever I read a comic and there's like a wow moment, I go, wow. There's a lot of wows in this one. There, with, I thought it was just Superman showing up, and then everybody else shows up in there. And it's so good to see the Justice League or whatever they're called, that come in and help them in a Batman comic. Usually it's always just a Bat family, it'll be Nightwing showing up, but they've already been trashed. Here, everybody gets trashed. Time goes on, like, what freaking, Batman or, Superman's dying, so he's going to the Fortress of Solitude, and Batman's got to jump out of the plane, and you go, what the heck's going on there? Then you see where that leads to. And then when he wakes up, it's 2 weeks later. Like, what has gone on here? I thought this is a great issue. I loved every minute of it.
I'm so glad you're saying that, Chris, because I concur. I agree with you 100%. This was great. I said to myself after I read this week, I'm like, I'm so happy with the start of Zdarsky's run in this book. I think it's reaching a point where, like, every issue's been really great. And it's one of those things where either we're going to run out of things to talk about, or I'm just going to take it for granted because it's been so consistently good. I'm so happy. Just likewise, like we and Chris have always been saying lately, how good Spider-Man has been, how much we've been grooving on that lately, like Amazing Spider-Man. When Spider-Man's good, Spider-Man's good. Same with Batman. Like if Spider-Man's good over at Marvel and Batman's good at DC, I'm happy. Like the main series of the characters, these are characters I like, I really enjoy. The only thing there is I wish Wolverine was a little bit better, but apparently it's not right now. but
I got hope for Wolverine though. I think some big things are coming there. He's going in the pit.
That's right. But yeah, I'm happy camper, man, when Batman's really this good. So like I was really pleased with this. And like you said, like by the end of this failsafe dude has taken over freaking Gotham from him. Like it's to the point where like he's taken over Gotham and they're sitting there saying like Aquaman, because he went into the depths and he's like, he's gonna come here soon. Like he's controlling the city. They're searching for you everywhere. Like the fact that this guy's fail-safe maneuver Batman to challenge himself has gone this far that no one can take this thing down, of course, because it's something of his own creation.
Well, like even when Batman or when fail-safe was fighting Superman and Batman's lying there dying and he can just see, oh, it's not going to fucking work, Superman.
Yeah.
I know that move. If I know it, fail-safe knows it.
Yeah. So,
and I got to say a big shout out, honorable mention to Green Arrow. He has been kicking ass in everything he showed up in. In DC versus Vampires, he showed up in Deathstroke, kicked ass there. Now he's kicking ass here. I don't even like Green Arrow, but freaking he's just kicking ass wherever he's going.
I love me some Green Arrow, and you're right. He has been.
But there's got to be a Green Arrow movie coming out or something. Like they're freaking pushing him to the right to the freaking moon.
Yeah, he's great. He's great in this too. I mean, I at the art.
Yeah. Can't go.
And then the backup story, another good backup story in this by Chip Zdarsky, Leonardo Romero on art. Great stuff. That's a Joker story in that one, but that one wasn't that bad because again, Joker shows up in the last panel and it's being written in a way where you didn't know it was him. And great stuff, man. Yeah, this whole thing about him escaping in the water and hiding out with Aquaman and him basically he's
freaking awesome.
He's taken over and he's waiting for you to make a move. Like he is expecting you to go and take back Gotham. He's like, you have to.
Yeah.
Like you need to. Like you like this guy's making a mockery of you essentially, right? Like he's like, you have to make a move, man. Like you've hit out here, you've been in a coma, whatever, for 2 weeks, whatever.
Yeah, healing water, so he's coming back at 100%, knowing what's going on. So that's good to see.
Great stuff. I agree. This was a hell of an issue. This one. Ah, man, it's so good. It's again, I'm loving this book right now, and just as much. I'm glad when the big books I really care about too are going so well. Like I've been loving Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. I've been loving this. Yeah. So what'd you give this one, man?
I got to give it a 5. 2 weeks. I wanted to say at the beginning, like when I read a comic and it gives me like a wow moment or like a holy moly. This one gave me one of those when freaking the rest of the Justice League jumps in. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The what moment? Like freaking the Spider-Man gave me that what moment. Yeah. And the Dark Knights of Steel when I guess he revealed that Superman was bad. That's like, what? And this gave me one of those too. So I got to give it a 5.
Agreed. 5 as well for me. Good job, Batman. Yeah. This is great issue. And I was already going into this to give this a 5. So that's why I was glad to see you reacted the way you did for this one.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
The best issue of the series so far of Chip Zdarsky's run on that.
Yeah, and it's just building steam. You don't want to drop this on your first issue.
No.
Every issue is getting better and better, and that's it. I love it.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, there you go, guys. X-Men #1.
Ooh.
All right, I got this cover.
I got another one. What'd you get there? Oh, nice.
The LaRocca one. This is this with the cover from last week and the one next week. They all connect, like the image, like if you put them all beside each other. So that's why I got those ones. All right.
Yeah, not too bad.
What'd you think?
Let's see what we got here. What Jean gets judged. I don't think this is my favorite judgment of the issue. Like, if anything, this issue just made me like Cyclops more. But as for Jean, it made me like her less.
Yeah.
Throughout her whole judgment. Well, I guess she failed. Well, spoiler, she fails. And maybe they did that on purpose. She was never one of my favorite characters, but you always like her. She was, she's part of some big stories. But I don't know. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, this was fine. I agree with you. I don't think it was all that. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed by these one shots that they said were like so important to the fucking
Yeah.
storyline. I mean, it really just seems like they're focusing on the three characters, Iron Man, Jean Grey, and Ajax or whatever, the ones that were in that kind of room together towards
Yeah,
the event in the main series. But if it was a whole thing of them just having their own personal judgment moments, then again, I don't think it's super necessary. Like, I mean,
yeah, they gotta push this into the X-Men series.
yeah.
They, pushed off that child of whatever, the Children of the Vault one month. Big deal.
I will say, like you pointed out, I did like the fact that they did reference the thing with Cyclops from the main series about he said he warned him about his wife, and the progenitor here agreed with that sentiment.
Yeah, well, I don't know what he said about Cyclops, but if you still go out with this girl, you're scared to hell with her. You're a brave man. That's why you pass.
So that was good. That was good. I like that because it finally kind of gave context as to why. Like, because remember we read that.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell did he mean by that? I didn't really understand at the time, but now it makes sense because she's, he basically just pointed out the fact that she'll always be the Phoenix and she can't be trusted and she's a loose cannon of sorts.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously very, very angry. Right. So all the time, right. She throws a hissy fit in this issue when she doesn't get her way too. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, it doesn't really paint Jean in a very flattering light. This one. Right. I mean, for someone so apparently well respected amongst her own peers. Right. So, is it fear or is it respect? I don't know.
I don't know. Like I say, this is like the fourth sort of judgment that I've read. The Hawkeye one was great. The Spider-Man one, of course, we gave that a 5.
Amazing.
The Iron Man one was okay. And this one, like I say, is the worst one where it's like, a whole issue focused on judging one person.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that's what'd you give it?
The thumbs down. Where is it? No, I give it a 3.5.
3.5 as well for me. Yeah. Nothing special.
Yeah.
Then we got Dark Crisis, The Deadly Green, number 1. I wasn't going to read this originally, but Chris had mentioned it and it was Swamp Thing. So I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Read this digitally. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, I believe I got hosed by the solicitation there. If the Swamp Thing joining with Superman was supposed to be such a great deal, I think they've wasted that opportunity. It wasn't a bad issue. They all go in the dark there. Was it Swamp Thing, Superman, and Raven? All great characters. They like them all. But then, when they start kind of just losing it to the madness or to the darkness and kind of fighting each other, and then Superman and the Swamp Thing got to merge to get to wherever they go. And all they do is really pull out that piece of Pariah's time machine. Maybe if I read this before the Dark Crisis 7, they gotta put something out there, how these stories go in order, especially when they got 2 issues coming out in the same week. But, like I was all hyped about this Swamp Thing and Superman merger, he'd become the Super Swamp Thing. But it turned out to be nothing. At least that's what I felt. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I was also very disappointed by this. It was such a fucking drawn out long conversation with them when he went into that thing together, when they all go into this.
Yeah. Or into the ring. I don't know where they go even. But
or whatever the hell he grabs at the end that helps out in Dark Crisis. And it's a bunch of baloney. Like, you want to talk about how to stretch out a scene for like 20 pages of stupid, sensical talk. All the characters, this was it. It pissed me off. I was just like, get on with it already when I was reading this book. I'm sorry. Yeah,
well, at least you only read it online. I had to pay for it, so I got hoped.
I read it digitally, but at the same time, it's like, I agree with you in the sense I love a lot of these characters. You know me, I love the magic characters. I like Swamp Thing. I guess this is one of the new Swamp Things. I think it's so fucking weird they're calling him Ian or something by his name. Like, what kind of a Swamp Thing name is that? I guess that's his
Swamp Thing, the one that changes the world, and there's you, Ian.
Right. I kept getting taken out of it. I'm like, who's Ian? And then I realized that he's the other Swamp Thing because Ram V, who co-wrote this issue, is writing the current Swamp Thing series. And I guess he introduced the new Swamp Thing in that series, but I dropped off the first couple of issues of that. Right. So I don't know, man. I guess that's the new Swamp Thing. So I was just like, how do you think, Ian? I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. Like, I was expecting some, grand battle between the green and the darkness, like that's what they're talking about in all the solicitations. The green is like some life force of Earth. versus this darkness incoming. You know, maybe there's something going on, but no, it's freaking Ian and freaking Superman and Swamp Thing holding hands.
Yeah, grabbing some machine. I don't even know what that thing is.
Yeah, and you grab like freaking. You grab the fax machine or something. It's we got the fax machine. Let's go back. Come on.
Yeah, and that whole scene like took up
It's
like
baloney. It's like, we can't make it to the pillar of darkness. Oh, we got it. What is it? Oh, it's a fax machine or whatever the machine is.
let me say something positive about it. The art was good, but
Yeah.
but the rest of it was baloney. I agree. It was Chris. It was I don't know. It was bad. It was bad. Overridden.
Like the one thing with if we compare, let's say, Dark Crisis and Judgment Day, you know, they're both big events going on.
Yeah.
This Dark Crisis tie-ins, they're all absolute garbage. Like all those Lost World ones that they had before, worthless. And at least the Judgment Day, it like let's say if you didn't read Avengers, you whatever, it might bring you into Avengers comic if you bought that to tie it in, and you got a good comic out of it. You know, if you didn't like Fantastic Four, the X-Men, you still get those Judgment Day tie-ins. They're decent comics, but you know, even the Judgment Day tie-ins though, those are kind of a waste too, outside of the main title.
Right.
But at least Judgment Day's bringing you, if their idea is to kind of get you into their main series, maybe hook you until you follow through. I think they're doing a better job of that at Marvel.
Agreed. I think Judgment Day overall, not only with the tie-ins with the main series, has actually turned out to be better than Dark Crisis for me. And I was a big supporter of Dark Crisis when it started, just because I was like, it was entertaining and it was much better than I expected. But
I think Dark Crisis would be a lot better if they just stuck to that, whatever, the 7 series, the 7 issues, and you know, kind of play it out. Because it doesn't seem to have any effect in any of the worlds or any of the titles that are going on in DC.
Yeah.
It's anyways.
Yeah, this is not good. Yeah. So
yeah. 3.25.
Oof, I'm giving it less, man. No. I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3 because I like the art and I like the characters. I just think the dialogue and the story was it wasn't that great. I think it just was overwrought. It was just went on too fucking long. Like, this is an oversized issue as well, this issue. And like, for the events that took place in it, you didn't need that many pages to explain him on an armor and grabbing this whatever the hell it was. Like, it's just like, so like, maybe it was just me. This was one of the last books I read, so maybe at that point I was tapping out on reading. Yeah.
Like, okay. This was bad. Like I said, this was one of the issues I was looking forward to. You know, I thought this was, you know, if any of the spin-offs you had to read, this would be one, but no, it's not.
You know what? No, I take it back. I'm giving this a 2.75. I can't. I really disliked it. I was just like, ooh, fucking Chris. I was like, you convinced me to read this. All right.
Solicitations, they got me.
Lastly, Spider-Man, adjective list Spider-Man, number 1 with our Art Adams covers. Did you get this one too, Chris?
No, I just got, which one did you get?
The Art Adams.
No, I didn't get that. Well, I got Spider-Man. It's got to have at least Spider-Man on the cover.
I don't
know why they put. Can't you save that for another issue?
I'm a sucker for a good.
Got the Bagman there.
I'm a sucker for a good Art Adams cover, so I went with that. Anyways, what'd you think of this, Chris?
I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know. You know, I've been reading that whatever the Enter the Spider-Verse, or I don't know, man. I want to like it. Maybe I just got to give this some time to breathe. It's, you know, it's nice seeing all the Spider-Verse people kind of come in. Some are bad, some are good, and they're all going to turn bad. And I still don't know why Peter Parker is like freaking Prime.
Yeah.
If anything, this issue made me realize I'm not a Spider-Man fan. I'm a Peter Parker fan. I like Peter Parker. I like his life. I like Peter Parker being Spider-Man. But I don't know if I like Spider-Man so much.
Again, this might be another result of you can't go home again type business, because like I like Slott's Spider-Man run. I liked Dan Slott's Spider-Verse event. I thought it was great. Them going back to the well on this one isn't going to be as good. I don't know. This issue was fine. I'm not a huge fan of Mark Bagley, the artist on this. So, I mean, these are both guys that have worked on, like, he even said it in the letters thing at the end about from Nicolo, the editor. He's drawn the most Spider-Man comics ever, Bagley, and like Dan Slott's written the most Spider-Man comics ever. So it's not like these guys don't have history and knowledge of this character or experience with it. So like if anything, this should be the best of the best in terms of like, you know, talent that they've put on it, or at least people that know this character inside and out. But like you said, this isn't just Spider-Man. For adjective for this Spider-Man issue, this is like, you know, we're getting everybody in this right so far right now.
Yeah.
Noir. I will say I like the twist at the end with him and all the other people showing up, and I did like Peter's corny jokes. Like Dan Slott writes a good stupid joke. Peter, like he did a really good job when he was doing the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
in between Spider and Man or whatever. Like when he's doing that, like
Yeah, I really want the hyphen. But that's all good stuff in like an everyday Spider-Man story, not in like this is supposed to be some epic freaking battle for Spider-Verse or whatever.
right.
You know, I thought this was a big scene.
Yeah.
Like, no, this gave me a what, but it's not like what? It's like,
Yeah.
Whatever. She's gonna be fucking alive in whatever in 5 issues anyways.
Right.
And, you know, and that's not, you know, I like the twist there with Spider-Man Noir. You know, he was a very popular character and turns out he's bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it didn't have any weight to it. You know what I mean? Like,
and the guy that is teaming up with Moreland, like that vampire type creature, like that guy was from back in like the Straczynski Spider-Man time before that. He's the guy who wrote it before Dan Slott. And same thing. That's a guy that was a bad dude, like through the life web that was trying to like kill all the different Spider-Man. So the fact they're teaming up with him is something new as well. So I don't think this was
I think they tried to put a swerve there where they wouldn't let him talk. And as soon as they wouldn't let him talk, you knew he was going to be a good guy or he's there to help. And I don't know.
So I don't think it was an amazing debut, but I'm gonna give it a couple. I mean, he's bought enough goodwill with me for Spider-Man to be like, okay, I'll give you a few more issues. Like for me, like
I'll buy it anyways because I'm a dummy. But
what'd you give?
Yeah, but it's still not my favorite stuff.
No, it's not nowhere near as good as the current Amazing Spider-Man. Absolutely not. But again, this is only one issue.
Yeah.
If they turn the like, you know, if changes, right? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, like so far, I don't think I'm a big fan of this. That Into the Spider-Verse kind of just burned me off. This whole Spider-Verse freaking storyline, and this is supposed to be the end of the Spider-Verse. Maybe that'll be a good thing, you know. Maybe you know, just the hate for the Spider-Verse, and it will die at the end, and that could be great.
Yeah,
maybe. I'll give it a 3.5 though.
Same.
I was hoping to give it more.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I was looking forward to this. So, all right, Chris. Well, that's gonna do it for this week's comics, guys. What are you picking up next week, Chris?
Well, here first, I just want to show you this birthday beer here. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Oh, the Trooper.
Any metal fans there? We got the Iron Maiden beer, the Trooper up there.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for showing. That's awesome. Very cool looking beer. Where'd you even get that?
I don't know. It's a birthday beer. A birthday present given to me by some special person.
Nice.
I'd say we talk about what we get next week.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going on with All Out Avengers 2, I think. I think I'm out of that after this series. Got Captain Marvel 42, Daredevil 4, Fantastic Four 48, Immortal X-Men 7, Amazing Spider-Man 11, Venom 11, and surprisingly from DC, it's just Jurassic League 6. I think that's it.
Yeah, I got I'm reading Jurassic League 6 digitally. I'll be reading that. I'll be checking that out. Finish that one off. And I got Batman versus Robin. That's it for DC for me, number 2. Then I got Amazing Spider-Man 11, Axe Eternals number 1, Daredevil number 4, Dual Power Bomb number 5, Immortal X-Men number 7, Love Everlasting number 3, which I've purged. That might be my last issue. Namor Submariner Conquered number 1.
Ooh.
And
You're buying that or just reading it online?
Buying it, but I've already purged it from my list, so I think this might be the only one. Well, it's only going to be a 5-issue mini, but I am looking forward to it. I hope it's good, but that's I think this is the only one I've pre-ordered though. And Punisher War Journal Brother number 1, which is a one-shot outside. That's another one of those one-shots outside of the main series that they've been doing. Yeah, so not a huge week. but the week after is fucking massive. So so that's okay. I'll take the smaller week this
Yeah,
week.
no worries. I thought today was a big week too, but
It was big, but the week after this next week is at least looking ahead, unless things change, is like it's a huge week for me. Huge. So
wow, I imagine I'm not far behind.
yeah, so we'll see. But that being said, what was our favorite book of the week, guys? Can you
Oh,
guess?
come on.
I can't even show that one to you because I didn't get it. So there you go. That's twice. That's 2 weeks in a row. Our picks. I couldn't show the fucking book off either at the end here.
All I can say, if Batman and Spider-Man just freaking keep on rocking like this, I could purge everything, just read everything online, and just get get good issues with and pick up whatever I find. It's when those ones suck. That's when you start searching everywhere else to see what else is out there.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, and both have been really great. As you could see, guys, back-to-back weeks here. We both agreed and gave 5s to Spider-Man last week and 5s to Batman this week. Yeah, this is not set up in any way. That's just how it goes. And yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes with these books, right? So
yeah. We got the New York Comic-Con going on this week too, eh?
Yes. So there's gonna be some announcements.
Some big news coming out of there from
absolutely
what I hear.
Yeah, absolutely. There always is. There's always a few announcements that they like to make throughout the con, right? So stay tuned for that. I'm sure we can get into some of those announcements next week and maybe some of the comic news. We'll get back to that. It's been a while. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. So, all right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this week, though. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in, supporting the channel. Make sure you're subscribed and everything else. Hit us up in the comments. And thank you to Chris, as always, for doing this. Always a good time. And thank you to that person, whoever got Chris that one. That's a very cool one right there. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Enjoy. Later.
All right. Cheers.